Did we generate sound? Okay. Okay. We have sound. Made it. I anyways didn't like the beginning of the introduction that I was giving. Good thing it worked. So wonderful. Thank you, Kiva. So today's topic is love culture. Culture is something synthetic. Culture is something that we build and retain. This is why I titled this topic as such. Love culture is something that tantric teaching in general is associated with as some bigger vision or some what? Sure, Kiva, is everything okay? So culture is something synthetic that we build and we retain. It's something that ensures our better quality of life. It's something that satisfies some part survival needs. Something that embellishes our life. Something that is above the very animalistic level of living. That's why it's culture. Love is culture, in my opinion. If we start analyzing how to cultivate it, how, yes, I was my, okay, I see, so the hands are tired a little bit. I hope it's fine. Good. And so love culture is indeed something to build and something to maintain. It's not something that we can just hope to be given in our life. Because life is spontaneous. Life is an interplay between our actions and what we control, something that we create, and also a bunch of spontaneous events from the outer world that influence us, that may trigger us, that may cause different emotions, that can cause us being stuck in certain traumatic adaptations even. So life is an interplay of those. And it takes resilience, it takes discipline to stay on the course of creative, productive, expansive, and beautiful life. It does take willpower. And we cannot just bank on it being given. We cannot just bank on it as, like, for example, we adapted to some dysfunction, we adapted to some brutal psychological survival. For example, we grew up amidst some psychological warfare in our family. We cannot bank on us going into the world and receiving from people everything that we crave in the realm of love, beauty, and creativity and enjoyment. It's just not going to happen. There is an element of discipline to it. Hello, guys. And hence, culture. If we look at human culture, what do we see? Human culture causes people to have certain order in place. It makes people have certain behavioral codes. It changes the language. It causes people to preserve something. It's associated with some element of both conservatism and development. This is what culture constitutes. And when we're talking about building love-infused, satisfying life, it is the same as building any form of culture. In fact, sometimes people think that, okay, I will just enter loving relationships. They go on dates, they hook up with someone, they go into those situationships, or they even sometimes build families, and then they sit in disappointment that some first burst of emotions, first burst of hormones faded, and they no longer can feel excited about each other. They no longer see each other as desired partners. They no longer have something to return home to besides comfortable couch. And this is the problem, because this element of being purposeful with building love culture in your life was not met. So it is very important to stay on top of that if you want to have a fulfilling personal life. And also, it's also very importantly, if you want to have big, healthy, good presence in the world. If you feel like you have potential for expressing your influence, for imposing your influence on the bigger world, on the bigger domain of life, thank you, Kivushka. Then it is also a very important skill to master, to cultivate love, to cultivate it. And it starts here. How to do it? It starts with the bases that we choose. It starts with an intention, because if you analyze, it will be a good exercise right now to look, what do you live for? What is your vector in life? Not even what do you live for, because it kind of puts us in some there and then purpose. But what is your vector in life? What is the basis of your life? What is the foundation that each day of yours sits on? Here I put several points for the basis. Proof. For example, some person will be living and basing their decisions, basing their actions on the desire to prove themselves. They're going to be taking deliberate action. They're going to be putting pressure on themselves to prove something. This is when people look at themselves through somebody else's eyes. So this is the situation when person lives on a vector of proof. This is the situation when there are some characters in the head that constantly evaluate this person and set this ever slipping higher and further benchmark that this person needs to hit to seemingly find fulfillment. That never happens. This is a high energy, expansive movement. It's a high energy vector. So this person who is living on the vector of proving themselves will be doing a lot, will possess a lot of energy, will be expressing this energy into the world. It will be skewed though. Then the second example of the basis of the vector of human life that I put here is earning. Earning. This also stems from some void. This one person lives with some significant figure in their imagination that looks at them and that has to validate them. So they try to prove. Earning, it may not be just to earn resources, might not mean material resources. It may not only be like wealth. For some people, they might earn love, they might earn respect, they might earn acceptance from people. So they wake up each morning and they insert this cassette in their mind to put them on this vector of earning. So their actions, their emotional projection will be this earning energy. There is a lack, constant lack that they are trying to fulfill, but each day it resets. There's more and more lack. So, earning. They are going to go and seek, they were going to go and register in the world. This person, how do they look at me? Are they giving me something? Are they going to validate me? If I talk to them, are they going to show that I'm a good person? Are they going to show me that I'm accepted? Are they going to reflect that I am okay, that I'm a good one? Needy energy, it comes from lack. But it is nevertheless, this lack motivates person a lot. So it's also high energy vector. It's also high energy movement. Love will keep a little bit for later. I want to cover the other ones first. So, endurance. There could be a person who will be living, who will be each day will be inserting a cassette of endurance. They wake up. They feel like without endurance, without this struggle, without hardship, without difficulties, without overcoming, life experiences are worthless. They receive their salary. For example, they receive $5,000. They received $5,000. They feel like this $5,000 is worthy because, not necessarily because of what they can afford with it. The vector is different. It's how hard they worked for it. They feel like these $5,000 are worthy because of how much work was put into making this $5,000. This is their vector. This is a good illustration of that. The harder it gets, the more they value something that comes out of it. Endurance is both. It's more shrinking energy. There is this element of movement powering through, but it's very much at an expense of reserves already. When person is in endurance is felt only when we are tapping into the reserves, only when we're already operating at this much battery and we need to cut down our reserves even more to accomplish something. This is what by definition endurance is. So it is already a compressive vector. It's not an expensive, it's not an explosive, it's not an energetic vector. It is the vector of self-oppression at this point, because there is already no free energy. There is no free energy. There is no lively motivation. It is already something that shrinks. So this is another vector that people may choose on a daily basis to align with endurance. Because, again, there could be some trauma, there could be some belief, there could be some programming instilled in this person that whenever they endure, it's worth it. Whenever they don't endure, it's futile. So you give them $5,000 and you tell them, you're such a beautiful, wonderful person. Buy yourself a good gift. And they will be like, no. It's weird. No. I just got this money. It's just, I'll just spend it on some bullshit, I guess, just to get rid of it at this point. Because I don't understand. I don't measure value in the units of what can be afforded through this money. I measure value through endurance. If someone just handed me this money, I can't perceive it as valuable asset right now. So this is another vector, endurance. And then there is another vector that human can wake up with and build their life in accordance to. Passivity. A person may be waking up each morning and decide, consciously or unconsciously, to insert this cassette that life happens to them. Not surprisingly, it's also shrinking, low energy mode that suppresses self. This person could have undergone some programming from their parents that taught them learned helplessness, that showed to them that their actions are worthy, or it could be through years and years and years of reiterating this behavior that I have excellent thoughts, but I never bring them to action. So self-sabotage can also reinforce this behavior. Passivity is another one of those that we can choose, another basis that a person can live by. Life happens to me. There will be another, by the way, there is also a positive version of that, sometimes, people who come out of depression, they will, for instance, or burnout also. They might go into some New Age teachings that tell that things happen on their own. Things just flow into your hands. You just need to think a certain way, and things will just manifest for you. And this could create this idea in the head of a very tired, burnt out person that, okay, I'll just sit and wait for something to happen. Everything will be fine. Or it could be that person, for instance, was on the train of having things largely provided to. Plus, maybe parents were also telling that, well, you can't do anything, or you were such a sheltered kid, or why are you trying to do this? You won't make it. And the person, if they agreed, they could have lived with this idea. And then parents, for instance, they tell all that and they feed this person. They give this person money. They basically cultivate this learned helplessness in this person by reinforcing this attitude. So this person comes into big life, and for instance, they no longer feel satisfied. There is a huge void inside that they feel, because they don't feel like they've accomplished anything, that they've lived their own life, that they've taken responsibility for anything. Everything was just handed to them, and hence they always lived by the rules of their parents, or by the rules of their affluent husband, for instance. So they eventually come to the point of this internal crisis that I haven't done anything. I haven't experienced my life, my will. I haven't been the main character of my life. But I don't know what to do. The person at the same time lacks the instruments. So they can spiral down into depressed passivity as well. Килушка. Do you mean being passive or just being patient? Patient is when you do and you don't expect instant gratification. Being passive is that when you deep inside know that your efforts value not. When you know that your efforts are pointless, they're futile. So you don't even, or not even just futile, your efforts are come at too high of a price. You feel like to perform an effort, you need to do some extraordinary amount of work for it to make sense. It could be twofold things. So it's not necessarily patience. It is specifically this disconnect with your own power. It's this disconnect with your subject role, when you are capable of making a productive action, when you are capable of taking productive step. When you think that things are done by someone, will be handed by someone, accomplished by someone, things are too hard, things are too unattainable. Everything, literally everything that you want in life is an enormous mountain that's even not worth approaching. Pretty far from patience, I think. So they aren't self-dependent. Yes, they aren't self-dependent, and they don't feel connected with the part inside of them that is capable of being that core, that strong part that is capable to take responsibility. Patience can be a multiplication to mask passive behavior. At least that's what I think. Yes, it also can be. Patience can also be suppressed aggression. That's a good note as well. Patience can represent, hello, hi. Patience can be masking also suppressed aggression, unwillingness to kind of like expand your will, expand your influence, manipulation. Yes, good, thank you for correcting. And then another vector that we have here, that's not love vector. So, destruction. A person can wake up each morning and play this cassette of destruction. Self-destruction. Destruction in the external world. And I'm not talking about specifically like crisis management, when a person has to break down something old, something that doesn't work, and perform this revolution in their internal life. I'm talking specifically about daily destruction. When a person takes deliberate or unconscious or steps to self-destruct and to destroy the environment around them. Remember once we were talking about tantric approach to psychosomatics, how Tantra works with psychosomatics, where it's actually legit to work on that. And there was this term that I introduced, self-destruction script. So a person seems like they have this self-destruction script playing. No matter what they're doing, they end up in the situations which encourage their self-destruction. Or when they are taking substances, when they are doing whatever, crazy things. Or whenever they have, whenever they dismiss symptoms, whenever they bring themselves to autoimmunity, whenever they bring themselves to some inflammatory things, whatever, through the means of diet, lifestyle, substance abuse, relationship choices. This is what I denote as this self-destruction script. This is what this points to. And then this self-destruction script also can be expanded to the outer world. When a person, for instance, completely lacks structure or is completely opposed to having any self-controls, any structure building skills, they also will be performing these destructive behaviors because their impulses have no control. Their impulses are not capable of being directed. They are not able to direct their impulses. They're not able to take their energy and direct it. That's why I put these chaotic arrows here, because this is the process of chaos in the head, destruction. The impulse arises, no skill whatsoever to direct the impulse, no skill whatsoever to dampen the impulse or control it, no skill to, for instance, transfer this impulse to better time and better place. Uncontrollable impulses, yes. So we're not directing them, we're not controlling them, we're fully embracing them all the time. It's instant gratification attitude. Destructive behavior will be instant gratification attitude. It tastes sweet. The candy tastes sweet. I'm going to eat the candy because candy tastes sweet and I want sweet taste right now no matter what. I'm not willing to go to some, let's say, farmer's market, get myself some fresh fruits that bear some nutritional value. I'm not willing to buy ingredients and make myself some healthy dessert at home out of Whole Foods. No, I want sweet here and now, and I am going to purchase whatever lollipop there is, and I'm going to satisfy. Or, same with any food, frankly. Yes, Kiva, confusion incoming, yes. And hello, guys. So, is embrace different from control? Embrace could be a form of control. When you make a conscious, in general, when you make a conscious decision around any impulse, it is already a form of control. When you act fully automatically, then it is, whether you embrace it or you break it down, you try to destroy it or resist it, resist the impulse fully. Whenever it's automated and whenever it is not in accordance to your best interests, let's say, this is when we talk about it being not controlled. Here is your conscious, this thing just goes as a train bypassing your consciousness whatsoever. No, it's not separate, it's a subset, I would say. Unless you think that embrace would be, you can embrace in a non-controllable fashion. You can embrace in a controllable fashion. What do we have here? I was just thinking about you, like, honestly. Wonderful, thank you. And this can be another script, another cassette that will play. Thank you so much. Cabello fosciocco. Thank you. And then we are left with love here. So the script of love. This is the last thing that we have here. What does it mean that we every morning we load the cassette of love? What does this entail? We talked already about for people who are just freshly joining, that we can, for example, as a basis for our life vector, we can insert the cassette of needing to prove ourselves, needing to prove something, then to earn something, to grab something, to satisfy some void. Then we can have a cassette of endurance, endure, shrink ourselves, push, push, endure. That's the only thing that brings value to us. Then passivity, life happens to me. That could be another cassette that we can operate by. That can be another script that we can live by generally. Passivity. In a lot of areas of life, life happens to me. I am operating, I'm making decisions, I'm only imposing my will on just a handful of things. Otherwise, largely I'm passivity. And destruction, self-destruction and external destruction script also can be one of the dominants that we can live by, the vector of our life. And we're talking today about love culture. Love culture. Love to cultivate. Create a lifestyle revolving around the love value system. As opposed to these, either of these or combination of these. How now to cultivate love? Let's start dissecting that. We've covered the basis. Chapter 2 here is the love basis. What's that? Let's draw a little bit. So we will have this. People who attend my workshops know that we have those cylinder people. Today we're not going to have cylinder people. We're going to have just does it look creepy? Plunk. We decide that we want to start living by the script, by the foundation, by the programming of love. Later class, not so much. What's the definition of love here? We're going to figure it out. We're just beginning. For most people, it is something to cultivate. It is something to retain. Because love is not something that is just flying in the air. Our world indeed has elements, pretty prominent elements of hostility. Our world indeed has pretty prominent elements of taking advantage, anxiety, high stress, huge informational load. This is why the first thing that we need to take note of here is that if we decide to live by this love basis, we need to be prepared for it to be something to cultivate. It is like human culture. Human culture is synthetic. Human culture is set of rules, rituals, aesthetics, communication, language choices, relationships that we form, the style of relationships, the etiquette. These things form culture. So we are going to perform the building, the construction of this half synthetic thing. Because of course love is something that is governed by hormones as well. Love is something that's associated with our very primal sense of attachment, warmth, sexual energy as well. So love will be half synthetic. Easy enough to give in to the scripts that were seeded into you in the traumatic moments. It's really easy. This is why for most people who were not born and raised in a total paradise family, in the total paradise conditions, it will be synthetic, half synthetic process, because you are working against the existing scripts. There are scripts that already exist. So the music of love, the structure of love, must be louder. Broski digs, yay, you made it! So this culture of love must play music louder than whatever other scripts are trying to get into your mind. Must be stronger, louder, more resilient than previous or competing. This new script of love must be stronger, louder, have better resilience and structure than the previous script. And when we think about any system to be built, let's say you want to open a coffee shop. Your idea, you like grow up with this idea that you will open a coffee shop. There are plenty of coffee shops in your city, obviously. You have a vision for coffee shop. A more upgraded script, yes. And importantly, that's what I'm going to illustrate right now. You have this amazing concept. You have this snapshot, how people come to your coffee shop, how there are some plants, some pleasant music playing, the beautiful smells of pastries and coffee, and whatever unique thing you're going to have about your coffee shop. You just like dream so delightfully about this scene. And then you go into the real world, and you need to bring this vision into the real world. And you realize that the coffee shop starts with a business plan. You cannot operate the coffee shop, you cannot have that dreamy vision without crunching numbers first. How many customers do you need? How many employees do you need? How many things you need to purchase? How many units of equipment? How much is the remodel? How much is the rent? What benefits you need to give to your employees? What licenses do you need to receive? How are you going to cover these expenses? This is the first thought that meets you in the real world. Yes, there is a woo-hoo-hoo coffee shop. The real world imposes the demand for building a structure. You cannot just have lyrical idea, an emotion in the ether, and not strive to build a structure for it. This demand that this love domain must be stronger, more resilient than other dominants means, first and foremost, of course, your attunement with this energy. So first, we need to tune in with this energy. Let's put it here. Tune in. Secondly, reinforce. Thirdly, however, comes structure. And while we can, for example, tune in, we can perform practices to tune in to what is love, we can start surrounding ourselves with the images of love, the glance of love. We can cultivate it through mirror neurons by looking at people who represent love. Then start seeing love in nature, start tuning to beautiful things in nature, to start breathing life in, reinforcing that through daily practices. Structure comes is a very important thing, because without structure, every existing habit, every existing pattern, every existing traumatic fixation will be overriding. Element of discipline with love comes inevitably. What do people say? Cover expenses with trust fund. Thank you, Brodsky Dig. I love how your brain works so much. Marriage being the script, is this love going to be spoken about in the context of marriage? We will extrapolate to that. I call marriage the script because it's cultural and determines interactions between men and women. I mean, I don't care about men and women cultural like out there. I care about how you understand it. When we talk about culture, it's culture even within the framework of your life, what you're building out of your life. Those cultural things, cultural scripts, can be employed as well, or you can participate with them partially. You can participate with them electively on your own terms. But largely, we're concerned about what culture you build in your life. Cultures that exist there and then, they are those scripts that are the easiest to absorb. They are the scripts that are given to you by your parents, by schooling system, by media programming. Those scripts are exactly what we want to override with the scripts that are most beneficial in our path. We will go on, not onto marriage, but onto personal relationships. How to cultivate these processes in the personal relationships. I really, really want to believe that love between men and women still exists, but I just can't imagine it in the modern world. You don't have to imagine some man, some woman, whoever you are, man or woman, you can imagine you loving a man or loving a woman. That's all you need to care about. There's no need to think about that man, that woman, some abstraction. If you sit down and try to describe them in detail, write down every single point, every single feature of those people, you will come eventually to a very strange homuncle, not necessarily a real human likely. So bring yourself from there, and then with those beliefs, bring yourself down. I have to do this myself with parenting because I hardly meet happy parents, happy families in general. To me, parenting is oftentimes erotic death, self-annihilation, and misery. With purpose. So some flagellant activity with some instant gratification from raising a child, some band-aid. But I don't want that. I don't relate to what exists largely. I don't vibe with that. To me, it makes no sense to focus on those things. Open any media, you will be presented, flooded, your brain will be flooded with examples of absolute idiocy, with absolute misery. Do you need to make your head a litter bin for that? Or do you want to live your life in accordance to your needs and wants? Important thing to remember, whenever we start discourse on those men, those women, those pet owners, those parents, those engineers, those doctors. Remember that there is always a human just like you who takes steps to live their own life in accordance to their own value system and desires. You're not alone by definition. It's mathematically impossible for you to be alone with your vision, with your desires, with your aspirations. Because humans, there's only a handful of humankind, assortment of humans, which is proven by if you move to another country, you will likely recreate the same friend group, even people with similar appearances, no matter where you go. Humans are copy-paste a lot of times. There is a range. Oh, thanks so much, Kiushka. There is a range, but there's no universality of every individual. Within this range, you will find your kind. That's why it makes no sense to keep your mind 5,000 miles away somewhere, focusing on some Bob Jones and Sarah Furman. Love takes time, and you learn through air. Contracts make up for the learning curve of love. Contracts being marriage. Marriage prioritizes reproduction, sustaining life over seeking love. Sure. Thank you, Kiva. 66 Zanner. Hi. Leave the imagination to visualization practices. There will be many discoveries. Yep. So, the basis of love. Let's sum of this slide up. Yes, we tune into the concept of love, what it is. It's expansive, it's pleasure, it's joy, it's creative. We reinforce it, and then we need to build a structure. This is what makes culture possible. In our own life, we can build our own institutions. In fact, I love the idea of, for example, temple family. Thank you so much, Flyers. Try. Let it be your discipline to watch through that. Try it. It will be very empowering. And also you can play around with energies right now. You can play around with energies. You can bring this feeling into devotion to something. For example, you raise this energy inside of you, and then you think of something very creative, something very productive that you want to accomplish. Try experimenting with that as well. It will be very interesting. Those strong feelings, we shouldn't waste them. So I love the concept of temple family. I love the concept of temple relationships. I love the concept of having this institution building attitude inside of our life. I think you're right. People's opinions when meeting them face to face are totally different. Yeah, but nevertheless, it's a really good exercise to catch yourself thinking about sometimes, those ideas, those thoughts, like, those people, those women, these and these creatures. Sometimes it's just the vent for anxiety. Sometimes it's a vent for tension. Or it is to spike tension and then relax. Could be any form of underlying, thanks so much, Kiushka. Can be any form of underlying desire, emotional need that is satisfied through that. Because obviously those thoughts are not productive. Those thoughts are just to get frustrated or sad or debilitated. In fact, it is like from the previous slide that we had, it might be the tool to replay the passivity, for instance, or to replay proof, or to replay earning. Why do I not have this in my life? Because Bob Jones and Sarah Furman are not having it somewhere. Hence, I will keep replaying my script tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and further and further and further. Because Bob Jones and Sarah Furman are my role models. Why? could choose other role models and just live on different script. Where was I? So on the previous, where was I? I don't remember where I was. Flyers, your state of mind goes well with the topic. Excellent, Kiva. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I love the concept of this temple. Temple is what? Temple is structure. Essentially, we are building the metaphysical or psychophysical, the temple. Will sound very epic. New people who will be joining will be like, what the F is going on here? So the temple, what comes to our mind? Let's draw some. Probably this is something that comes to mind, right? Something with columns necessarily. I swear I'm an artist. There are some things here. The temple can be relationships. The temple can be creativity. Temple can be family, charity, businesses, serving people. We can replace it. Serving people. Temple can be spiritual if you adhere to certain spiritual school. We can also, Hannah Lucy! Yay! Hello! In the spiritual life, and when we think about temple, temple represents a structure that we build to home, to create some dedicated space, to create some dedicated structure where these things can evolve in accordance to our values. If I just go into relationship because I felt something in my genital area with this guy, and we hooked up, and now it's called relationships, this relationship will probably be beaten up very much when I don't cultivate a thing that I want to grow in that relationship. When I just let it spontaneously evolve fully, it is likely to bring a lot of suffering. It is likely to bring a lot of distress. But if I assign this temple where I home relationships, it is likely that I will be a more influential figure in the course of events. It is likely that I will be seeing relationships develop in alignment with my core value system, which in our talk today, it's love. Do relationships evolve in accordance to the love entity? Do they evolve such that I can place them in the temple of love or not? It is very important to create this temple in your mind. The temple can be a sum of your emotional connection with this value, which is love, with this script. Then it can encompass various actions on a daily basis that cultivate and remind you, that spark, that launch this script of love. And it can be hard-coded as well. For example, when I decorate my home, the space where my relationships with myself happen, the space where my intimate relationships with my partner happen, when I decorate this home, when I fill this home up with things, with hard things, material things, do I do this with an intent of love? Or do I do it through negligence? Do I actually build and fill the temple? This is what it means to be purposeful, and this is what it means to cultivate love. When I notice that I start behaving blasphemously relatively to the temple that I'm building, when I notice that, I now, because I cultivated that, I feel how different my behavior and state is from this value, from what my temple carries. And I take actions to bring myself back to this temple. I know and I find purposeful actions to bring myself there. It's not why I call it a temple, why I drew this monolith here. Because it shouldn't be something if I want to change this vector in life. I want to be governed by love. I want to be governed by creativity. I want to be governed by this beautifying energy, lively energy, flow of life energy, openness, authenticity. I drew this monolith, not some flimsy thing that I can choose to interact with today, but then forgo that the next day. It's not something attractive. I did not build a resilient structure. This structure, this temple, must be overwhelming. This is why it's very useful skill to, or very useful, not skill, the tool, to go and infuse your space, infuse your life with objects, with sounds, with information that cultivates and builds the walls, that builds the structure, where you now can evaluate, am I in alignment with that or not? It will be far easier. Can we say, in a sense, loving something is considered something or someone as ourselves? Then naturally we treat them as ourselves. Ourselves is a tricky concept. Ourselves is sometimes you can have very skewed self-perception or perception of what's self. Some people, actually a lot of the psychological problems are associated with internal split. There is self that I love, there is self that I hate. Or there is self that I default to, but I want to be that other self, but I don't have resource to have that. It's a tricky thing. What is self? Some people think that they love themselves, but they don't. Or they love only one side of themselves, but they hate everything else. It is more turning away from, to me, it's all, by the way. To me, it's all turning away from this ego, turning away from this self-digging in general. We switch our focus from this digging into ourselves to doing things, to living things, to conducting life, to conducting love, to cultivating things. We are attuning ourselves to the value that we want to convey, that want to conduct. What I will receive, what am I tuned into, and what I will output. Life becomes very easy, life becomes very playful, life becomes very like when you are capable to just conduct easily. Nothing gets stuck into you as in the form of trauma. Or you can easily get rid of it if it happens. Nothing becomes this resistance spot that causes you to diffuse or feel the self-destruction. This is a very beautiful mode of operation. This is what Tantra strives for through somatic exercises and through work with concepts. So, my whole thing is to figure everything out with yourself and turn into life, turn into the path of life. No need to do anything in the department of self-digging. Let me point something out though. Components of love. Let's talk about that. Love is not when we just try to sit and convince ourselves, I love you, I love you, I love myself, I love myself, I love self, I forgive myself, I self. Primarily it is first is respect of function. Component, very important component of love. Respect of function. Very easy to accomplish. Respect of function means that what is you, for example? What are the tasks that you have? Starting with yourself indeed is easy. You are a body, and that's pretty much it. You are a body, because our consciousness is a part of our body, or function of our body. You are a body, living body. You are a form of life form. You need to study what are the functions of that body. Which things you need to service using your consciousness. You need to feed yourself well. You need to rest yourself well. You need to move yourself well. You need to play. You need to exercise your talents. You need to have intimacy at the level that you need. These things are respect of function. This is the first and foremost component of love. When we expand it, when you are, for example, you acknowledge that you are an artist and that you started some artistic movement. Now your responsibility grows. You now need to keep being an artist, to keep functioning as an artist, to respect the function. You need to build a working structure to allow yourself to be an artist, to remain an artist. So out of respect of function, you study how to build structures that enable being an artist. When you love someone, you watch them. They are also human, or they are a pet, for instance. You watch what their needs are. You ask them, what are your needs? What are your languages of love? And you start respecting the function. You start meeting somewhere with them, meeting them somewhere halfway, and you mutually respect, exercise respect of function towards each other. How you need to be loved, how that person needs to be loved, how a dog needs to be loved, how a dog needs to be taken care of, Second component of love, we need time and space for love. Time and space, it needs to be a dedicated effort. If we want to cultivate love in our life, time and space, be it love of yourself, be it just omnipresent love, we need to, when we want to cultivate love in our life, we need to take time how do alarms look? Like this? I don't remember. We need to set time to engage with this concept. In the beginning, in the nascent stages of that, we sit down and we cultivate love. We tune in with this concept. As we grow, we infuse more and more space and time of our life with what we understand as love. In workshops, we do that. We do those practices where we connect with these concepts and we sit with them. Nastya, now I'm finally here. I have a question. Is it possible to be attracted to someone you've never met? Or is it something you're making up in your head? How can you know? Thank you. Let's see. There was another question. My projection. Love is necessary for internal relationships. Lust, beauty is required for external relationships. Doesn't internal beauty eventually reflect outwards anyway? It does. Do you mean like parasocial? So, love with someone you have never met. Being attracted. Well, attractiveness is always something that's in your head. All feelings exist by definition only in your head. You cannot have this situation, for example, where you are here and your feelings, which are generated where? Your feelings are generated in your brain, and your brain is walking somewhere outside of you, producing feelings. By definition, every feeling that you have is inside of your brain and nowhere else. Just physically impossible to be otherwise. Whether you see a real human being, whether you see a picture on the wall, whether you create an art piece and you're in love with them, no matter how they present themselves to you, your feelings are always in your brain and nowhere else. Your feelings are not laying inside of that human. Let's say you meet a real human and you have feelings for them. Your feelings are not there. Your feelings are not in them. Your feelings are only in your head. What changes, however, is the amount of sensory information that you are getting from the object of love. What we perceive as this is more legit, this is more real, this is less real, is how many actual sensors are getting activated. So yes, your feelings exist in your head, but one feeling is amplified and created by something devoid of smell, devoid of touch, devoid of some nuance, because probably when you're fantasizing of someone that you've never met, you don't see the blemishes on their skin, you don't see the pores on their skin, you don't see the dandruff, you don't smell their feet after a day in hot shoes. You don't hear them farting. You don't hear them chewing food. That could be as well. You are not interacting with a lot of things that make up a real human. At the same time, this real human gives you freedom to actionably communicate your feelings. So the difference is, remember how we talked about self-esteem. Actionable expression. Being a creator means that you are able to influence the environment. My marker probably is not legible anymore, right? Actionable expression is influencing the environment. Influencing the environment. When you influence the environment and when you see the results, for example, you give the man that you love, you give them a gift, or you give them a kiss, or you give them some sign of affection, and you see the feedback. You see the actual feedback. You see how how something about them changed. You see how some emotion is being like reciprocated. So yes, this man comes with a whole package of their body temperature, oiliness of their skin, pores, blemishes, smells, habits, chewing, whatever it is. But at the same time, the relationship feels more grounded, the relationship feels more real because there is actionable expression that you can have, that you can exercise and reciprocate. And it also, this man in turn, there always will be some expectation perhaps to receive something in return as well. So it is a two-way street. You're also going to see how this man influences you, how this man gives you something. Then, when you are in love with some poster wall, now another thing, by the way, there will be also, actually, with the real man, let's continue with the real man, there will be something that you will be projecting as well. There will be like, I want him to be this, but he is that actually in reality. That sucks. There will be a moment like that. Or, I wanted him to do this, but he never did. There will be also element of projection, where we will be facing the disappointment that, oh, I generated a fantasy about him. And apparently this fantasy doesn't come true. When we think about loving the poster on the wall, just some from Hollywood or something, we're dealing with a thing that still exists in our head, but that's not coming from actual sensors. It comes from our memory of senses. And moreover, from very limited, oftentimes just visual channel. Or maybe some impression of the voice that will be triggering the reconstruction of this poster on the wall in our head. And with that person, we can experience in our mind very many scenarios. And we can experience this partial gratification, this not actionable, but imaginary expression of feelings, imaginary reception of things, that will be activating, again, very few sensors. It is like thinking about food, thinking about some delectable dessert. Thinking about a delectable dessert in a wholesome state of affairs will lead us to go into the store buying ingredients and making this dessert or buying that exact dessert. And we will fulfill something physically through that. With relationships, often people live in this reinforced illusion for a while, as if their channels of gratification through physical outlets are blocked. For some reason, they don't connect that with the physical craving. To me, this points to living a little bit detached from the body. Maybe. Is it true though? When all action happens only in the mind, and there is no extrapolation to actual senses, to flooding our sensors with this information, to experiencing it fully. As if there is already a habit to not feed sensors, to not strive for a lot of sensory information. When this thought came to my mind. Self-love has to manifest as love for the opposite sex if we believe that male and female are two parts of a whole. So love is not connected to reproduction, rather experience of full self through other. You were talking a lot about Shiva and Shakti practices that we were going through in the past 3 workshops. Is this for any age group? Yes, so what are the age group restrictions? Thank you, Hannah-Lisa, I'm glad. If not for reproduction, would loving anyone else but self be necessary? Well, why do you think in such limited terms? Why do you want, this sounds like you would want to, explain, is it necessary? What if you build up your love capacity to not need to think about it? Love in general is like, again, we're not facing digging ourselves. You go into the world, love can be expressed through creativity. Love can be expressed through actionable expressions. Love can be expressed through experience, through just hormones flooding your mind. Who cares who the object is? What the object is? Love is a state. When you respect the function, when you devote time and space, you cultivate love not as some trade activity. You are experiencing love as deep satisfaction, ease, admiration for everything that surrounds you. Why do we need to count how many people or who we love? Why do we need to limit it? Why do we need to have a direction and direct it to self specifically? Bump into this wall of self. Why? You are just conducting love. You are receiving love. Thank you, Kivushka. You are receiving love. You are conducting it. You are radiating it. It becomes a part of your charisma. The directionality matters only because we have 24 hours, 16 hours of active time. Yeah, actionably, you probably can, in dedicated fashion, build intimacy and build close relationships with just a handful of people. That's the limitation for directional, very actionable love. But love as experience doesn't have to be directional at all. Let me draw. Two scenarios right now. Two scenarios. What's happening there? two conductors, let's say. One conductor, be it light conductor or electric conductor, let's say, we'll look into that. Doesn't matter. One conductor has a bunch of defects, was busted up, has a lot of resistances, the surface is all skewed and deformed, was twisted and tumbled. And then also a bunch of defects, scattering centers. The other conductor is pure. They are existing in some cloud of radiation, let's say, different waves of different properties. This conductor is pristine conductor. It can take up these wavelengths and it can conduct them without much loss. It functions as a good conductor. If we take this conductor, it will heat up, it will be damaging, it will be radiating light outwards, a lot of dissipation. It will be bouncing light out of it. There will be a lot of chaos inside. There will be a lot of resistances. So maybe it will be able to conduct something as a result, somehow, magically. But mostly, it will be experiencing this dissipation in heat. It will heat up and destruct further. It can also, for example, because it's so distorted, can start taking the wavelengths that it's not tuned into. It can start taking wavelengths that are destructive for it. If we look at the pristine conductor, it just conducts. It performs its job. It's at ease, nothing heats up. It works well. There's no destruction. There's no dissipation inside, no losses, no self. Basically, this represents this walking into self. Self. What am I idea of myself? Concept of myself. Is it good enough? Is it good enough? Am I talented enough? Is I'm capable enough? I'm probably not capable enough. I probably won't be able to do this. Just face the life and walk. Easier said than done, but just very lossy and self-destructing conductor. Conducts easily, effortlessly, without losses, without heating up, because fulfills respect of function. Because maintained well, structure is good. Structurally pristine. This also. Structure is broken. There's no structure and we're expecting to conduct something. Not going to happen. So this is the mode of love, creativity, passing, ease. Full-bodied experience of love and energy with minimal losses. This model is good to reflect on because if you have energy losses, for example, you take one person takes 2,000 calories per day, This person takes 2000 calories per day, but this person is insanely exhausted, depressed, mentally all over the place, physically just all tense, cannot breathe, cannot do anything, cannot sleep. And this person, at ease, has very good skill of handling stress. When stress goes up and down and they relax, they're able to sleep, they're able to enjoy life. Same calories, totally different modes of operation. Pointing vector. I really appreciate how open, fluid, and creative you are in front of the camera. Is it natural to you or are you trained? Both, probably. I was on camera, yeah. Since childhood, I love doing that. I love the stage. But then awkwardness was present. Actually, I'm more awkward in front of the camera when I try to pre-record videos than on live streams. So live streams are my favorite genre. Unless someone films me, because when I'm alone and I'm just talking into the hole trying to be upbeat, that's a little bit difficult. Kabel, but I think we can agree that history shows that love is rare. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Person who possesses pink diamonds doesn't give an F that pink diamonds are rare because they possess them. They don't sit and dwell that, oh my God, poor people, they don't have pink diamonds. They have pink diamonds in their collection. Or whatever their rarest diamonds are. Why do you care about the love is rare? Why in your life this is an important piece of information? This to me points to some conflict or something. Why is this a valuable piece of information? Thank you, Kiwishka. Pointing vector is not transferred through the conductive metal but around it. Let's think of fiber optics maybe. I had someone tell me once that love comes naturally to some people, while many still have to be taught how to love. Everybody has to, because probably, I mean, your parents give you the standard of love. Sometimes it's not quite. Как пес? Ты пришел поработать, иди сюда. Пришел? На стуле хочешь посидеть? Иди на стулике посиди, будешь за меня вести стрим. Иди сюда, вот, пожалуйста. Умница моя, директор, все. Да. Thank you, Hannah. For Tantra exam based on Adam's stream, yes, I'm ready. Yeah, we're gonna have one. Do you stream on Kick? What does it mean? Та-тум, 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 та-тум. Та-тум, та-тум, та-тум. Та-тум, 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 мамин. Да, ты мой сладенький. Все тебя любят. Все тебя там ждут. Пупсик мой, да. Пальчики мои любимые. Пальчики мои любимые. Посиди чуть-чуть. Умница моя, да. I will consider the exam, yes. Kick is platform made for streaming. No, I only stream on YouTube. Kuzia, yes, he knows that he has a fan club. The fan club. The Fun and fan club, да. Да-да-да. Да-да-да. Тебя все так любят, птенчик мой. Ты мой сладенький. Ты мой сладенький. We're actually trying to do something with cats around here because they went absolutely nuts. And I walk with water bottle to scare them away because it's absolutely crazy. The more platforms, the better, I know. You know, there is this culture of partial ownership of pets. When people have cats, but they kind of don't have them. They could care less about what cats are doing, but they feed them, they encourage reproduction, and they host them. So the cats are nominally somebody else's, but at the same time they belong to the streets. And it's such a weird thing to me. And then cats go nuts eventually when they have babies or when the weather is conducive of them going nuts. Try a cucumber. Oh, I forgot about that. That would be an interesting one to try, Hannah. Cats have owners, but at the same time free roaming, yeah. Russian Blue Cat relaxes with me every day when I get home from work. I noticed that's a common thing apparently. Yeah, Kiva, it is. Even in the States, it's like cat just goes and then starts soiling at the yard of people who never subscribed to that wonderful service. We had huge like hills with crap inside all over the yard. And I was like taking care of the garden. I wake up every morning and there is like this mountain. It was so stinky, it's crazy. So yeah, cats are my pet peeve. Those like somebody else's but not taken care of. I don't get the vibe at all. They're not fixed, they're not anything. Thank you so much, Scrolling Scribe. Батончик мой, что ты такая благодина? Where are we? Where are we on our topic? Then Marshall, oh yeah, they do. They also bring other cats in. If they see that there is shelter and resources, they start inviting more cats over. It turns into this absolute madness. Yeah, cat owning culture, yeah, it's in a lot of places it's not there at all. Like, put the thing on the chain if you wanted to live outdoors. Why does it have to run around? They literally are, they are a predator against humans. Cats actually, evolutionarily, they hunted apes. They hunted human-like monkeys and stuff. That's in their DNA. It's insane to have them free roaming. I witnessed so many cases in which cats would attack even people from their own home. And I remember as growing up in school, people would, my fellow kids would be like, oh, I love my cat so much. And they show up, their like hands or arms scratched. Deep, bloody scratches everywhere. Hee, it's my cat. And it was commonplace. It wasn't like one crazy animal. It was all the time. Kids would show up with those bleeding scratches. I was so perplexed. I was like, are you a masochist? Why are you owning an animal that harms you. And then people like who show up with cats also like to pee on human belongings. I've never met a cat owner who wouldn't smell like cat urine. Nah. So, I now lost a bunch of my audience probably because of my cat radicalism, but it's okay. I admire it's not science stream, however, even Maxwell equations aren't intuitive. I like how you made example of resistance after all P plus R. Yeah, sure. Cat fleas, yeah, oh my god. I am a dog person, yes. I mean, also, I'm not just every dog person either. There is no such thing as like, oh, every dog is my friend. No, there are absolutely not dogs out there as well. And there are very fun dog owners who love to get their pit bulls run free in the public areas. So I'm not like in general just any animal, any dog lover, you know. As long as it's not a cat, this is like the best thing ever that happened to the planet Earth. I'm not like that, no. So, Dog Tribe United. Cats are like agents who guard the human shore. We got off topic. What cultures love? Would non-cultural love be like one night stands? It would be very impulsive thing. Very probably. When a person non-cultural life, not cultured love would be, actually it's a good point to bring up, good point to look at, because from what it is not, we can better understand what it is. When a person in general, let's say this is person's life context, but this is their domain, this is what their mind processes on a daily basis. I hope you still can see the board because the markers are fading. And then they see someone, and this is where they exercise love. They saw someone, and love happened to them. Pew, in this little slit. When person builds love culture, when they create love script and reinforce it and build it, then their entire life, no, maybe except for cats, is mostly infused with experience of love. Who can we put here? We can put cats or dogs, let's say, and sloppy dog owners here. Then we can create a non-love domain for whom? For there could be domains where our love may not be 100% fired up. But when we overall strive for having love culture, this is when our life is like this, and then we create a domain for the person to love or persons to love. And that propagates it, brings it some new quality. It doesn't become the striking experience, ooh, love, out of nowhere, that shocks you, that like strikes you, that makes it like all or nothing feeling. But it is just a part of the bigger context where you are finding new quality of love, for instance, where you can have different love experiences, but you overall are already operating in this context. Actually, there is no love for mosquitoes on this thing. There's domain for mosquitoes, that's not love. And ticks, by the way, who needs ticks? It's so crazy that ticks exist. For what? Is there any bird that exclusively eats ticks? Such that ticks are just the mandatory part of biosphere? They should just go extinct. I don't think that they're needed that much. Being that men and women seem to be disgusted by each other in today's days. Which men and women? What are you talking about? Which men, which women? Are you disgusted by men or women? You matter. Bring back the dodo bird. Kabbalah, I'm not certain if that's true. Prosecuting, yeah. The Western culture is having relationship issues. Am I wrong? Who is Western culture? Who is Western culture? Who is Western culture? You're talking about something unfathomable. Hello, Tony. In the US, there are plenty of wonderful couples, wonderful families that I've met. Plenty. No problem whatsoever. People are having super joyful sex, super joyful emotional connection, super joyful experiences, and want to spend their whole life together. They're so in love, even through the years. Which Western culture? I think it was never better than nowadays in the recent history. There was never better time for having good relationships because there just was no space for having relationships in general. When people were having arranged marriages and treated the females as cattle for a large portion of history. Or there were wonderful relationships between Roman Empire citizens. That's probably another example of wonderful relationship. This today is a wonderful time when both genders have freedom, both sexes have freedom of choice and can enter the consensual relationships and create something out of them. And even slightly travel classes. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like when they make American-made clothes or food in other countries to be seen as higher quality and cost more, when in reality it's from assumption of America being high class due to. What do you think about someone in their early 20s with someone in their 40s? Hannah Lucy. What do you think? Who is someone? And what are they doing together? Who cares about divorce rates? Are you not good, guys? Are you seriously equating divorce rates and quality of, like, higher divorce rates mean lower quality of relationships? Higher divorce rates mean higher quality of life in general because humans are capable of electing this choice. They can afford to make relationships a part of their life and not the foundation of their survival and basic well-being. I feel the same as when we had the topic of having many partners and how people started joking about tunnels. I feel the same. And why are we talking about some random masses of people who have nothing to do with you whatsoever? Nothing. Their divorce rates have nothing to do with you. Their quality of relationship, some abstract people, billions of people, have nothing to do with you. Their personal life has nothing to do with you. You are right now the one who is living your life. You are having your own life experience, unique, once in a lifetime life experience. It happens right now. And you are with those millions of people who are divorcing, sleeping, having one-night stands, cheating, doing all sorts of things known to humans, but not living your life. Why? Why is that? Romantically, Анна Луси. Тяну волосы, да, мама психует, мама психическая, да. Мама разозлилась. So, age difference, age gap. Well, there are notoriously strong couples with huge age gap because one person strongly needs parental protection and the other person strongly needs whatever they seek from a younger person. And those couples can go on and on and on for a while until the difference in biological, let's say, biological quality of the body becomes noticeable. That's one risk factor there. When we're dealing with very large or considerable age gap, health becomes a deciding factor. Because if you are with an average person who lives a more or less average lifestyle and they're in their 40s, let's say 20 years ahead of you, it is likely that their smell, their habits, their energy level will be compromised. If they lead a very healthy lifestyle, if they cultivate very active, energetic state, basically if they spend the past 20 years cultivating a very healthy version of themselves, then it might work long term. But the reality of things is that oftentimes it will be a person who tries to catch up with a young person, tries to have some, or is scared of perhaps aging, or wants to sublimate instead of, for example, creating a strong framework of their own youth, of their own bright life. They cannot do that, so they vicariously want to experience it through other person, and they get in relationships with much younger person in exchange for resources, for instance, or in exchange for parental protection, parental figure authority. And in that sense, there might be disharmony over time. Then there also could be a moment that at first, oh, it feels so good. I'm so fatigued. I'm so tired. I'm so done taking responsibility for myself. I want to hide on this hairy chest of this experienced, strong man. And I want to hide and just be a girl again. I want to rest. When you rest, however, you will have this much of energy. And that person will stay where they were. And when you rest, you will have ambitions, you will have desires that this person cannot fulfill. It's another risk factor of this. And what you will be left with, by the way, in that scenario, when first there's like, oh, so good. In several months, it may be like, God, oh, why so suffocating? Why so heavy? Why? The person can end up being depressed. The person can end up being, feeling in contrast with you when it all loses sense of novelty, when it loses sense of romantic freshness and the immediate magnetism. They may feel contrast as well. Then there could be scenarios of authority play. If a person is very authoritative, unless they can provide some level of security long term, such a level of security, meaning they are very high class in society, unless they can sustain that and provide you something that you will never be able to experience otherwise, it is likely that you will feel, if they have just some medium level authority, it may make you feel constricted. Unless, again, they provide you enough freedom and enough resources to really make it high in life. It must be a very psychologically advanced person who can allow you to grow into yourself fully. If that doesn't happen, it's going to be, again, this play of insecure authority. That can be also an unpleasant scenario. So depending on what the deep reason for this attraction is, you're going to have different outcomes and different risk factors. High in life. I don't mind learning how to love, but love today is where feminine is confused for infancy and masculinity as a hero. With so many people like this, it's not likely that love will be healthy. Wonderful point, wonderful point. That's very true. Very, very true. While it is normal to regress into the infant state in the moments of affection, in the moments of love, when we basically skin to skin with someone, when we're in this warm attachment, it is normal to experience the regression into the infancy, because this is when we felt this caress skin to skin. This is when we were nurtured, bathed in love so profoundly, or what we craved as a baby, to be drenched with this love. It is a normal element of intimate relationships to have that infancy component. However, when there is social play of like, I cannot do anything. Do it for me. You must be rich. You must be successful. I won't be doing anything. Save me, save me, save me. When this happens, this indeed not a love relationships. This is a precedent for dynamic of different kind. This is a precedent for codependent relationship. And relationship in which eventually one partner will be feeling that deep, deep, deep dissatisfaction because they did not live their life. They were doing anything but live their life. They were expecting their partner to live their life for them, achieve things for them, bring things for them, satisfy everything of them. They forgo autonomy. And they turn themselves into the some tool for that person, as they think will pay, will be sufficient to compensate for the resources that are being brought. The other person will be also in turn feeling like they're a tool. At some point, there will be a huge gap. There will be no intimacy possible. There will be no connection possible. There will be no growth possible in this dynamic. It's a very great point. In Tantra, we also, like people who go to workshops, last 3 workshops, we were building that strong persona, no matter what your gender is. You have to be human. You have to be as powerful human as possible, not just for relationships, for anything in life. Your strength is your asset. Your energy is your asset. It's your stability. It's something that grounds you. It's something that gives you a sense of baseline comfort. Something that enables growth into happiness. Something that enables growth into loving creature, into creator, into a leader. These are the prerequisites for that. When when relationships are regarded as like, save me, let me rest, let me just sleep on your chest. Eventually you will feel heavy in this relationship. You will feel heavy and empty at the same time, because there will be an insatiable void, because you're not taking responsibility for yourself, you're not filling yourself up, and at the same time you will feel like you're carrying something with you, something heavy. Your partner. The partner will depreciate, like slam to the ground. So partner will depreciate, you will depreciate. It's really damaging relationship dynamic. So that's the reality of this female castration, and castrated femininity, infantilism, and then turning man into a tool, just a tool. This is like, oh, again, we'll bring it up again, the books about female and male polarity, men from Mars, women from Venus. All of this blasphemy that has nothing to do with human nature, with human adaptability, with human strengths, with human development. They're anti-human. They're equally anti-men and anti-women. Because a castrated feminine will never have this stable glow, will never have the basic sense of security. The play is possible only when you are a leader, when you can lead a game. When we become adults, our games, our play becomes, we just change toys. But our playful spirit should convey into the adulthood. This is where pure energy is conducted. This is where we have connection with the source. This is where we experience life instead of experiencing slow dying. It's playful spirit. You need to be a player for that. To be a player, you need to take toys and move them. You need to have action figures that you are moving and changing the environment around you. No matter man, woman, or whoever, whatever your identity may be. That's why I'm so anti-interested in gender roles. When there is a prescription, a man must, a woman must. What are you about together then? Why your vector is some proof to fit in, like we started off with. The script is totally sideways. Which script is that? when you operate on the value of love and creativity together, you find partner with that alignment, and you cultivate this in your relationships. This is the way towards life that is felt as life, is experienced as life. Adopting some external recipes for that is the path to void. A man must, a woman must. And now we're sitting with bloody buckets and like sacrificed a bunch of stuff to it and waiting for other to fulfill, to pay back. Pay me back. You see, I sacrificed so much. Sacrificed my youth. I sacrificed my time. Take care of your home. Sacrificed my dreams. Pay me back, bitch. What for? What is that? What were you doing the past 20 years? Why? Why? What payment are you expecting? 20 years back. Monetary reward. Freedom, skills, what? Experiences, what? Where are you headed? What does that pay? For someone to have lived life for you? Impossible. For someone to have felt for you? Impossible. It's only you who can feel, only you who can experience. It's absurdity. We need to charge the phone, by the way. I agree, but gender roles exist to a small extent in regards to breastfeeding and the man being the protector while the female is compromised in how she can protect herself when pregnant. It's not male or female. When it was relevant, it was not male and female, it was community. Thank you, Kivushka. It was community. There were a bunch of people, there was no nuclear family, and when it was relevant. Yes, I said bitch, yes. How do you deal with someone who seems like a chameleon? You don't know if they're, thank you, Kivushka. Kivushka is star today. Chameleon. You don't know how they're being themselves and you genuinely like them, but or they're changing to be liked by you. Why are you in the situation when you need this riddle that you also need to solve externally? You can ask a person what they feel, what they are right now, what they do right now. If you can, then what is the nature of this relationship? If it's pure diplomacy, then refocus, reshape your vector to the goals of this communication. For example, you need to communicate with them for work. Do you care about lyrical filament of this communication, or do you care to get your problem solved at work with this person? And also perhaps see some political detours that they're taking and what happens outside of your dipole. If it is in personal relationship, then is it really personal relationship when you have to ask me about what to do with that person and how to interpret their behavior? I'm a big proponent of talking in personal relationships as much as possible, to learn about each other as much as possible. What do you feel right now? What do you feel if I do this? What do you think about this? I want to do this. I feel weird about it, but I want your opinion. To always to search where the boundaries are. This is part of love culture, communication as well. When we talk about love culture in terms of relationships with others, communication, the language, is very important as well. Communicating these things should be possible, don't you think? Because if you can't communicate that, then now the question is, if you can't communicate that, but it bothers you, you are choosing right now to be bothered by it. You choose to not have clarity. The question is, why do you choose to not have clarity? Why do you want it to be an enigma? Why do you want it to be some mystery to solve? Why mystery is more beneficial than clarity? What are the risks of achieving clarity? GCA. What did you mean when you said depreciation of a partner in the case of infantile feminism in a relationship? Depreciation of everything they do. Depreciation of who they are, minimizing them to a tool. Clarity, yeah. I should do a star pose every time you do it. So, yeah, why enigma? Why to keep enigma in your life? I've witnessed a scenario in which the guy was so obviously cheating to the point of leaving some artifacts here and there in the vehicle, in the phone, through some non-direct communication. It was obvious that he was cheating. His partner chose to not know the truth. Just chose to not know the truth. Because the truth would mean that I would have to betray myself if I stay with this person. I will be insulted. I will be less than peaceful. I will be like in this mud. And I will choose that. When you don't know that, when you choose to not know that, you choose to not make decision, which means that you are not, in your mind, you're not soiling yourself with making an unfavorable, diminishing decision. Like in the example with person who was cheating. Imagine, I love this man, I need him, desperately need him. He's going out with models, with super gorgeous girls. He wants it known. He dismisses me to go out with those girls. But at the same time, he keeps me as his main girl. But I will not show him that I know. I will not tell him that I know. I will not tell myself that I know. I will suspect that. Always leaving room for him not cheating. I'm not a fool. I'm not in this position of no matter what, I will be with you. I'll handle everything. I'll kick my ego. I'll squeeze my ego into nothingness to be with you. I'm desperate. It protects dignity sometimes to not face the truth. It kind of keeps your internal image and external image unperturbed. Like, I never needed to make this decision, no. I will be torn inside. Obviously, I will sense the dysfunction. I will sense something. But when I'm told, I cheat on you, I'm not going to make the decision to stay. Yes, you're cheating on me. I will stay. I will love you regardless. You're the best thing that happened to in my life. Keep doing this. This is how it will look if I'm told that and I make decision to stay. If I never knew that for sure, I'm pure. I'm not making this very uncomfortable choice. Is alignment required for a relationship to be successful, or totally opposite opinions is an issue? Or am I understanding alignment wrong? Well, you are creating the term alignment for yourself, so whatever it is for you, but totally opposite opinions, star! Totally opposite opinions are, depends on what area. Is it an issue for you? What is the particular case that we're solving? If they have a stark contrast in outlook but love enough to try and understand and respect each other's perspective, does it work? What does it mean to understand and respect each other's perspective? I want to live on the north, like on the North Pole. My partner thrives only in tropics. What to do? Is it going to be an impediment on relationships? Is it going to be some crucial thing for us? You are to decide. I love this girl, but all she has got is betrayal, so is generally sus towards men, and often recounts experiences of them with them, carries so much guilt for abandoning them, and isn't able to move forward. All she got is betrayal, so it's generally sus towards men, and often recounts experiences with them, carries so much guilt for abandoning them, and isn't able to move forward. If you're drawn to her, I mean, it's unlikely that you will meet the perfect perfect candy for yourself and a human. Obviously, if you're drawn to this girl, I would break down your attraction to where attraction is and where your desire to prove to change is. So let's split your feeling into components. For example, this is like what you summarize as I love this girl. We take sexual appeal and energy, one component. Then care. I want to care. What is that care? Then we have saving, fixing, which are proving yourself. Where are you proving yourself in this? Let's change that. Let's not change. Let's study that. Where in this love your self-esteem is being nurtured? Let's separate the most purest component, which is sexual appeal and energy, like this warmth and passion. And let's see other things and what they are for you. What are you trying to satisfy there? That guy sounds like me. I want to live in the North Pole. By the way, when I was envisioning this example, I was thinking that the girl wants to live in the North Pole. Broski Diggs, thank you for your marketing campaign. Thank you, Kivushka. Broski Diggs is solution-oriented. What's so sad? Have a happy day. Wonderful, you too. What's so sad? Where's sad? Because GCA, what can happen is when you break it down into this is love, this is where there is no like work, this like hard work, difficulties, resistances, and you find where resistances lie. This can show you where you can work on yourself and where you can give her more space. For example, when you have impulse, you know, she's struggling right now. She invites you to this interaction. Prove to me that guys are different. Prove to me. Show to me. I will provoke you. I will poke you. I will provoke you to doing things. And you can impulsively go and like, okay, here I am. I'm gonna prove myself. You're wrong. This dynamic is where you impulsively went, you stole her space for healing. You decided to squeeze yourself into this void and into this disturbance. When it happens, when you're aware of your own reactions, you can allow space there. You allow space. You are allowing her to think for a moment, to think, to reflect. You can be the trigger of reflection. Okay, she starts, imagine, she goes, likely when there's trauma, people operate how? People operate like this. They operate on cycles. The cycles that just pump energy out of all participants. She doesn't get anywhere through that. When she replay, you already watched those cycles. You were already invited into this interaction by assuming at least 5 times. You notice that the cycle exists. You participating in the same way in this cycle makes zero productive sense. All you do, you take your energy and you donate it to the cycle to keep it going. When you are aware where your own interest, secret interest is in the cycle, you allow her to have that moment of, oh, the habitual mechanism doesn't work. The cycle broke. When the cycle breaks, awareness has space. There's awareness, there's a moment of reflection. What am I doing? I'm here and now? Why am I saying all that? Do I really want to say that? Do I really need to say that? Did I really say that? Why did I do this? What was I really thinking that? No, it's not necessarily what I want. Is it really true? No. I'm with an amazing guy who doesn't behave like other guys I've been with. In fact, you know, not all guys behave like this all the time. Frankly, if I think about it, there were moments when they were behaving totally differently. You know, thank you. I actually now understand that perhaps I was just tired, you know. I don't know, I think I just saw something that reminded me of that. Can we talk about it? And now you're talking productively. The cycle breaks. Find this affinity to the cycle in yourself and give it space. Give it space where awareness can squeeze. Leonardo DiCaprio would say yes. She doesn't provoke anything. She's just fed up. Also, I have been attracted to her before we started talking, sharing about her trauma relationship. The cycle theory is thrown out. How does it work then? Let's see. Bill, give me your model. The compatibility between a man in his 40s and a female in her early 20s. So sad, the compatibility. Got it. Well, it's not sad. I mean, you just need to understand what is in it for you. What are you pursuing there? What is the foundation of that attraction? And see, maybe you can give yourself some nourishment first, and then see if this attraction is still attracting. Because I don't want to dismiss, like, maybe it's a wonderful couple, very compatible, wonderful couple, and we just, because of some concepts, we're destroying it. All I'm calling you to do is to analyze what is this for you. And whether it is a sustainable thing, how it aligns with your life objectives. Because first, for example, imagine romantic love, right? The first period of romantic love, it becomes the prominent thing at first. Novelty, new experience, breaking boundaries. Everything is very novel. It becomes the priority temporarily for a short period of time. It occupies a lot of mental power and emotional power. But when, after the first sex, your sex is no longer something novel. After the first coming together, it's no longer novel. It becomes a part of your life. When it becomes a part of your life, how is it? How is it going to be living together? Sexing together every day. Building life together. Your life, his life. Together and separately. How is that? Life will continue. Life will not interrupt on that. I just resonated with her. It was like I felt warmth for first time with her. First time. Okay. We just talked the first time. I'm just scared of only one thing. Different outlooks about life may lead to a lot of friction in life. Or would we make it work? I'm not an oracle. So, troubled girl, the girl with a troubled past, if you manage to break the system of savior, a troubled girl can end up being a jewel, because if you give her room to, for the first time, experience safe attachment. If she experiences that, it is likely that she will be a very fervent lover. If you start playing the game of savior, trying to change, trying to break, trying to whatnot, it could have a lot of friction, yes, because there will be swings. But if you are capable of healthy attachment, of creating the domain of healthy, calm, safe attachment, it may work, may take time. Also think of those scenarios. Do you think that we will have to be to some extent responsible for another person's growth, being that there aren't that many people who are aware of things like what you are speaking of? Well, responsible is a heavy word, because you cannot be 100% responsible. You are responsible for living authentically and bringing your truth through action, through verbal delivery. That's perhaps where your responsibility ends. You're making an offering, you're creating conditions, you are inviting people to your own garden. Build your own garden first. There's no need to go and embellish somebody else's garden that's they're not able to maintain. Grow your own, build it enough to be able to invite people to it. We'll see at the next workshop, Kiva and Lovely Nasty. I really can. We can make it. We absolutely can. Did you, by the way, receive my invitation? Or was it lost in the ether? What happened to it? You didn't receive the invitation. That sucks. Maybe I'll check what's up. And yeah, Hannah Lucy, don't want to program you. Just be mindful. Zoom out on your entire life when you're communicating with those men. Power play is quite common. And just in your position, it's very important to fall back on your sense of groundness, of your sense of control of your life. Ground on that when you're communicating. Don't fly out. Ground yourself. Focus, like zoom out on your entire life, your resources, your path, your desires. And that will be the good foundation to see whether this person is a good match or not. Ground, yes, zoom out and ground. Your life, you're big, do this like growth practices. When you're big, inflated, such that you are not diminishing yourself accidentally in the glory of authority, strength, and age and maturity, perceived maturity of this person, such that there is no illusion that you are small, he is big, you are inexperienced, he is experienced, you don't have institutions, he does. With this dynamic, try to even it out. This, you know, you own your life, you own yourself, you feel the ground under your feet, you know what you're about, you know what you want. And then see, is this person the match? Is this person going to fit? And also observe, by the way, the difference. If you, for example, communicating, do you shrink or do you grow? When you approach communication, are you already from this subdued position or are you from strong position? Observe these things. I got all information glued to my brain, for real. Wonderful broski date. Yoda. Okay, so I have to figure out if I will be diminished by her for following my principles and goals, right? Oh, GCA. I was talking to Tana, but I guess it applied. If I will be diminished by her for following my principles and goals, I guess it applies there as well. Good night, Hannah. It was very nice to see you. I was very happy that you made it. Yeah, GCA. If you feel like what your path, your strength, you own your life. If this person, you can accommodate this person and still walk your path. That's a positive outlook. If you feel like this person makes you take a detour off your path of authenticity and ultimately strongly distracts you from it, then it is something to analyze, something to think about. But if you think that this person can allow you to walk your path, then it is likely something that you can pull off. So, but think. There is, by the way, some analogy here from singing lessons that I've been taking. You know how if you are to take a high note, something pushing your comfort zone or outside of your comfort zone, a lot of times when you are trying to do that, it will be like you become this giraffe. Metaphysically, you are like a giraffe. Departing somewhere. The high note is there. The whole body is like cooperating to just like fly to that high note. Strain. You lose connection with your body. You lose grounding with your breathing apparatus. Everything squeezes, tries to like fly out somewhere. But that's a very damaging technique. Wholeness is what you physically exercise when you're singing. Be it a high note, being at the low note, wholeness remains. Our breathing shouldn't interrupt when we're taking this high note. Because if a high note breaks the breathing, there is a lot of tension. Same with every life experience. Which life experience breaks your breathing? Good also, very good analytical tool. You go to some experience, suddenly only your collarbones start. Air doesn't travel anywhere below. A good criterion for when we're grounded, when we're calm, when we're in the most cleanest, purest state of mind, is when our entire body can breathe. When experience doesn't kick us out of embodiment. This is the embodiment when we can breathe fully. The head voice does sound nice at times. But there are also not just like head voice is isolation. There also could be straight like, ah! When everything squeezes, it just becomes really difficult on the vocal system. With friction and stuff. I mean, you were talking about the partner who has a troubled past. I thought you were talking about my question. Well, not that. I didn't realize, honey, I have similar situation. Okay, so it shouldn't be stressful for either partner at the base ground state, because that's eventually exhausting. Yeah, it's a good diagnostic tool. Are you able to be in a grounded state with that partner? And are you able to return to your resourcefulness with that partner? This is not something that all people do. This is more of an advanced level practice. I'm talking to you from the experience of Tantra, obviously. I'm not talking to you from the experience of, hey, Bob Jones, check out, are you grounded right now with your partner? Are you walking your path? No, there are techniques for that, obviously. There are techniques, there are habits, there are tools that you exercises that you exercise, some things that you cultivate before you can just do it. Do sing for us. Can I sing? It's already past midnight. What I need to do, I need to work on my speaking voice, by the way, because my speaking voice gets also put some strain on me. I get scratchy sensations eventually, so I'm not doing something right. Have you ever eaten octopus or shark? Octopus, yes. Shark, no. What? It could be activating twang due to excitement. Sharks are virtually immune to cancer, sure. No, my energies get stuck up and breathing becomes difficult when I'm on like a date with her because I have fear of not being up to mark and have fear of abandonment and I'm an introvert in general. Ты пришел зайти к маме. Ну куда ты убежал? Actually, sharks are lo squalo in Italian. No wonder. Text in there. Hello. Rhythm brought me back. Scroll here. My energies get stuck up. So first I would suggest the plan of action. No rush, no like life-changing decisions so far. Try bring yourself to comfort. Rehearse, visualize your energies with her before going on a meeting. Have a few tools that ground you. And when you are in a meeting, exercise them. See if it's possible to retain that. How your communication changes. Try that first, such that we remove this tension. Because when you are at the stage at which there's a lot of tension, there is a lot of thank you, cheveux. When you are at the point when everything is exciting, when everything is very like hard to handle, almost exceeding our conductance, this is when you cannot make like life-changing decisions. You cannot just like sit and feel what you really want, who you are, where you're heading in life, what you're doing, what you want. You're not hearing that clearly. All your body wants at that point is to fight or flight. Biochemically, you are in the state at which you cannot hear anything but fight or flight things. So you're going to enact the scenarios probably that are related to that dynamics. If you want to find a life partner, it is important to find a point at which you both are relaxed and then think about it. Disappear into me. Ooh. Bye-bye. It was nice seeing you. Thank you for stopping by. When energies get stuck, you can fix it with Tantra breathing, hot and cold thing. Oh. Brosky Diggs is preparing for the exam. Tantra. Солнышко мое маленькое, ты пришел. Я тоже тебя так люблю сильно, зайчик. Такое счастье у меня вообще. Такой любимый, самый любимый. Видео записывает. Okay, so think from a grounded state, right? Right. Would be a good tip here. No panic thinking. In panic, again, you are solving like immediate survival problems. I think GCA needs to be more afraid of the lacking relationship with self that results in fear of abandonment. No, that's deep. Nevertheless, connecting with self, again, grounding in self. This is my life. These are my pens and pencils. These are my notebooks. This is my table. This is me. This is me. I'm breathing in and out. This is my room, my walls, window. Today is what? Today is already here. It's Thursday. August. Today for breakfast I had this and this. For lunch I had this and this. I went there and there. Tin, 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 tin. Good tip. Remember, we're studying for panic attacks, for very high level of anxiety. A good trick. Start reciting from the morning up to the present moment, you are in detail describing and imagining in your head what your day was like. I woke up at this hour, day of the week date. I got up from my bed, went to the bathroom, did this and this, had breakfast. Recite to up to the current point. And the current point you are describing, I am right now sitting on a chair. There is a whiteboard here. I wrote some words, some topics on the whiteboard. I am right now giving a speech on love culture. I am responding to the question. I'm talking into my phone. There is an audience in front of me. There is a lamp here. I am sitting right now. Can I sit more comfortably? Yes, I can sit more comfortably. And you're talking through that. You're hearing your voice. Пришел, Любавич мой, любимый мальчик. And then, after you have gone through what you are doing right now, you are starting to talk. Right now, I will get up and we'll take a sip of tea. I took a sip of green tea, put the mug back on the table, and returned to the chair. My psyche gets hijacked if I even think about not ending up with her. Remember, the ground from perspective of the earth is the part closest to self. Air is the furthest. Your ground will be found within. Maybe the problem is that you think you already know who you are. Embodiment. Embodiment is easiest achieved through breathing as a first approximation. Маленький, ты чё, уснул, что ли? Ты чё, спать собрался? Epic. Yes, exam will be epic. Broski Dex. Just joking. Прелесть моя. Okay, even though it almost seems impossible to ground right now, we'll try another time. No, let's try right now. You're a very good meditator, GCA. Let's try right now, don't delay. Let's try right now. Let's try breathing in all the way through the belly, all the way into your butt, into your perineal area. One inhale down there, another one down there. Then you start inhaling. Air travels into your arms, into your fingertips. Air travels through your legs into your toes. Air travels through your spine into your hair. Let's do that. It's very quick. Because if you delay it right now, you are reinforcing another habit. Let it be. Let it be the thought. Let the thought exist and the breath cycle exist. But you can hold my hand right now. Like, imagine that you're holding my hand. You can grab something, hold my hand. The thought pops up and the breath happens. Let's do it. Good. DCA, so now, when it's hard to ground, imagine that you're grabbing onto something. It can be somebody's arm, somebody's hand. It can be an object. It can be James Miller, hello. It can be something. Part of you is holding on to something. And then breathing. And breathing patterns that I told you would be beneficial is first all the way down to perineum. Then you can do breath to the right half of the body, left half of the body. You can do breath through the back. You can do breath like when you feel back ribs expand. You can do breath through the legs. You can do breath into your fingertips all the way here. You can do breath through your face. You can do breath through the crown. You can do breath through your eyes. You can do breath through your neck. Any breath that is grounded in the body. You are envisioning how breath travels there, expands it, softens it. And Paxton Bear, I've been doing better overall with my whole thing. You've been nice and the acceptance has helped a lot. So wonderful to hear, Paxton Bear. It's really great. Dang, she dragging you to deep waters. I also got my answer. The reason for attraction is the promise of regular warmth, which I didn't get most of my life. And I was reduced to a performing tool whose value was derived from doing things. For the first time, got repeated warmth for no reason. Okay. Oh, feel the force. Why warmth, by the way, has to have a reason. Let's make it normalcy, GCA. Let's make warmth normalcy, or more normal. Like warmth doesn't have to come with a ton of pay. Warmth can come in exchange for your warmth. For example, it's a basic need of a human. Most humans need warmth of another human. And your warmth is the currency for somebody else's warmth. There's no need to be thinking that, to be trying to trade something of value, something like some scarce thing or something that taps into your reserves for warmth. Because then it will make it feel like your warmth is depreciated compared to their warmth. Or you assume that people don't need warmth. But if she communicates through the language of warmth, this is your answer, that warmth can be just natural form of expression. I don't think that she shares warmth with you because of some extraordinary effort. It's a language of love. You met in this language of love, of warmth. And now for you it is to discover your own warmth. It is to get in touch with your warmth, how you experience it, how you share it. Get saturated with it. And understand that there's no correlation between ripping yourself into pieces and receiving warmth. Because in this relationship, you may have an illusion. Let's clean it up. Let's clean it up. The trap right now is that you still may feel like you need to purchase warmth. For example, you need to endure a bunch of stuff that is antagonist of you for warmth. Let's understand that warmth is not traded in this relationship for anything other than your warmth. Warmth is just language of love there. It's just the language of communication. It's warmth. Warmth doesn't come for payment in any other domain there. It's just warmth communicated. Warmth for warmth, just to have warmth. Important thing right now to meditate on is to detach warmth from any form of currency. Worst thing that would happen is you getting her considering the nature of desire, of your desire for her. Well, lifts chair, steps around chair, sits back in chair. So, warmth for warmth. Similar, let's think of an analogy. Let's think of an analogy. There is a lady who marries for money. Or who wants, for example, or not marries for money, she enters marriage. She completely loses her libido. And she keeps going to bed because going to bed with her husband means that she will retain her social image. Or she will get warmth. She absolutely hates intimacy with this man, but she wants some glimpse of some warmth. So she endures the sex. It's painful, but she receives 2 minutes of touch that she craves. The trade ends up being destructive for both. Warmth, intimacy, relationships, closeness, connection, everything. Because the trade is distorted. Important thing is to exchange things of the same realm. If you want warmth, communicate through warmth, connect on warmth, cultivate warmth. We are building the garden of warmth. If you want to be listened to, there is another thing. Sometimes, guys sit and pretend that they listen because they want pussy. But he sits and listens. Yeah. The girl feels like she did not get communication that she wanted. She was not heard, she was not seen. And then she surrenders to intimacy because of some other reason. The guy gets the pussy. She did not really want that, perhaps, but she felt like, he invested so much time, it will be awkward. And he, at the same time, he never communicated with her. So on communication field, they never connected. Neither they connected in sex. Because they were trading communication for sex and sex for acceptance. A good hygiene in relationships is to have exchange in the same domain. Does this make sense? Do you agree, disagree? Do you want to argue this point? That a good practice is to not exchange things of different domains. Today I will pretend that I listen to you to get intimacy. Intimacy is not intimacy, just masturbating on your with your body because you're not connected, and you seek acceptance through that. And I don't accept you because I'm not willing to see you to begin with. I was not willing to engage in communication, just wanted to have easy sex. It's not building anything. It's not building fulfillment. It's not nurturing either of these people. It's band-aid attitude. What's marriage compared to relationship? I don't believe that, I don't think that an authority, some like legal authority, has more authority over you when, I don't know who's which people. I don't care. Yes, I agree, and yes, we don't exchange things of different domains. Okay, so now we need to embody this feeling of warmth, being for warmth, just warmth. You enter the room of warmth. Warmth exists. And the best thing that you can do is to partake in that in an equivalent and adequate fashion. When this purity is established, this is wonderful. Conflict, if respect, whatever, we don't usually agree with each other's solutions to our problems, but we try understanding each other and respect whatever decision we made. When we need some material help, we ask each other, and that's done and done there itself. No expectations of attention, etc. That's a good thing. My perspective of love that she fulfills, independent enough yet respectful enough, and understanding the ephemeral nature of disagreements. Good. We both listen in depth to each other and remember, of course. Yoda? Something like that, probably. I agree, you shouldn't trade one activity for another, but find something you both want to do at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, it's really nasty. It's really nasty when you experience that, when you know that there's a person, that person purchases something of you. That's probably the nastiest thing in relationships. When either like a woman is just like, well, okay, rents her body for some resources or some attention, or to just be good person, not enjoying it whatsoever, not being present. Or when a man is trying to play some games, some strategies, manipulations and whatnot, and or I've met a couple of pickup artists in my life, and it was so hilarious because you know that they're throwing a show, and it's so funny to witness because you know that, okay, you want to get laid tonight. That's what you want. Neither you are interested in the person you're with, nor you are in any form. I don't know. It's just the behavior of pickup artists is probably also notorious and very much illustrates this notion, because they behave as if they're building some profound connection. It's obviously very, very fake, and at the same time they want something else out of it. Initially, when we started out, I was more of a scared little boy who was just grateful for a friend like her. I have had much growing up to do over the years. Her maturity helped me a lot, and I'm much more in my masculine self element. From what you've started to where we ended up with, it sounds like a totally different context right now, GCA. Where we started at was some crazy, electrifying situation. What you're describing right now sounds like a totally different story, so I'm a little bit confused how these two coexist. where I can actively take authority and take charge. But why is there tension? You were mentioning tension element. Oh, you're shy and don't know how to problem? Yes, even if it's not for sex, if not sex for talking, but I want a movie and they want to read the book, I will suffer for them to read and they will suffer my movie. Better to find something you want to do together. Or this scenario that you described. For example, they want to read a book, but they also, for example, want to cuddle. They would be fine with either. You want to watch a movie, they're considering either reading a book or cuddling. Or you can also, by the way, combine reading a book and cuddling. So you will be watching a movie, they will be reading a book by your side. You can find the domain together where you can enjoy the space together if you want to be close. Goodbye, sweet wind that blows upon my cheek with gentle warmth. I always remember the glowing touch that echoes through my skin. Goodbye, sweet wind. Goodbye. Yeah, oh my god, the ending was concerning, but if you are departing, it was very nice to see you. Thank you for bringing your outlook today. The breathing helped me a lot. GCA. Well, if it's the matter of breathing, that's it's probably a good situation to be in, frankly. So if breathing changes your perspective, then perhaps through the system of somatic exercises, you can balance yourself, because you literally are telling me the different story from where we started. That's why I'm a little bit confused. Tension was about friction. Now that I really realize, actually, and now that I write that out loud, we're both mature enough to handle disagreements. There could be something to be prepared for if or when the tension grows, your internal tension from exams, from workload, from whatever circumstances, just build up, build up, build up, build up. I think in your case it's important to not let this build up reach critical point. It would be nice if you have the daily practice of managing your state, such that you don't go to the breaking point at which catastrophic perception of things commences. And when any disturbance, anything that goes out of alignment, will be the last drop. So, for clarity of mind, let's embrace some routine, daily thing that will be keeping you well under the breaking point. This is where clarity is or can be found. And when you feel that you are coming to like everything is perceived as threat, everything is perceived so dangerously, this is when we need to take some moment, dedicate 10 minutes to bring our state back to flow. This only journey to be taken is for her to forgive herself and resolve her past issues with her past partners. And let's focus her issues, let's turn her issues to what work you need to do. Think about it, how I can help her in this journey. Think of a person you want to be. Think of the qualities that will match her healed state. Let's not focus on the problems themselves. You are well aware of the problems. Let's envision her in her healed state, and through that, remember how we did Shiva Shakti meditation. Imagine her in her healed state, and through that, find yourself that will match her healed state. Embody that. A few times a week, embody that. Build yourself a recipe for how to be in that state. And encourage communication through that state. So you sit, you understand her in her healed state. Like in that meditation we did, in that practice. Then you feel how you would match that and embody that. And then as you progress in life, as you progress in relationships, these things will be changing her in her healed state. Because first, when you are in this very compressed mode, you may not have good outlook for what your potential is. You need to do it iteratively. First, you are envisioning one step ahead, or a couple of, like 3-5 steps ahead. From that level, you will be envisioning far more, because now you're going exponentially into exponentially different scale of events. Your desire capacity increases. Your understanding of what's beautiful, harmonious, most lively changes. So it's an iterative process, but it will be a very good homework to meditate on her in her healed state, then focus back to you, a partner of that healed herself. Embody that and communicate with the world, with herself, through that state, to make it a habit, to gradually embody it fully. And then when you feel comfortable with that level, when you notice that you're at that level, meditate again. Now, not healed state, radiant state, love-infused state. And now your partner of radiant, loving state. Embody that and come to communication through that. And that's the best approach, I think. Instead of, oh, we have this problem. My fear is that how I will give her the warmth, the level of masculinity she needs. How do I embody masculinity? GCA, you literally did that in the meditation. Do you remember? You were the one who did this automatically. You were actually very independent on that. You went and did it. Let's remember this right now. Remember that experience. It was the very first workshop that you attended. It's popcorn. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I actually will be signing off soon. So. I enjoyed it so much, by the way. Oh my god, I missed you guys so much. I was prepping for that workshop. We had this workshop. Thanks so much, Wayne. And I was prepping for it. It felt like such a loaded experience somehow, even though the workshop was not many people. It was a very intimate setting, but it was so profound because I love that topic so much. It felt like I spent so many more days than I did energetically. And felt like I haven't been streaming in eternity. But that was like soy masculinity, like where each partner enjoys each other. I mean, how do you even call that masculinity? Both were pretty much on the same level. Wait, where should they be? On which level should you be with your woman? Why do you have concept of it being soy? Do you want to become her father? Do you want to become her god? Do you want to become her grandfather? I mean, God is not like as God and goddess couple, but God is like patriarchal God. Wait. Let's demystify this real quick. She wants me to be a little more dominant. So more of a patriarch, some like you are government. She's the servant. What is this dominance about? Did she explicitly say that? Also, by the way, through the dominance, desire of dominance, sometimes lies fatigue. I want you to be dominant because I'm tired in life. Like I take care of her and she gets taken care of. Is she a child? Do you want to be a parent? Or do you want to be a servant of divine feminine? Like I handle most of the things. Oh. I handle most of the things. Do you want to handle life for her? What is the domain of her life going to look like? Does she want to outsource a lot of her life to you? What is this dynamic going to look like? You see, you could both enjoy life and have very strong domains of your life, personal life. And then you meet together for things that you can uniquely get in relationships. You can build your life such that you both play life vibrantly, strongly, actively. When one person comes to the other, like, Mommy, I'm tired. And it's normal to have this occasionally. But when it is a permanent state of affairs, there's no equal exchange. Envision God and Goddess dynamic. There is a powerful God, there is powerful Goddess. What is their polarity? Is Goddess hiding in the embrace of the God? Then how is she a goddess if there is hierarchy? Like she wants a man she would want to be submissive for, who would bring her in line. Well, ask her why this dynamic is interesting for her. You're not being dominant, you're being dominated. You're looking at it backwards. Might be an interesting perspective to study. Submissive for, in what capacity? Does she want to feel pain? Does she want to feel oppression? Does she want to feel what? She wants a dominant yet caring man. Dominant. Does she want to feel pain, suppression? Why dominance? Does she want someone to diminish her? What is dominance? What is the dominance dynamic? I want you to dominate. I surrender my autonomy to you. This is what I can envision. I want you to dominate. Do whatever you wish with me. Some people will want pain from you. Some people will want oppression from you. I should take decisions. Is she going to live her life? Where was going to be her life in this? You are dominating, you're making decisions, you're getting things done. What is she doing in this composition? Who is she? Why does she need to dissolve her personality? Why does she need to surrender her personality, surrender her body, surrender everything? Why does she want to self-annihilate? What is the premise for that? Is she that fatigued of life? For both of us, I shouldn't ask for her, I should just know the right thing. I meant ask her. Like, why does she want to erase her personality? This is my question. This is how I decipher this dynamic. Why does she want to erase her personality with someone? She doesn't want to be oppressed. She wants to be independent, bit babied. Bit? She wants you to make decisions. Life is decisions, making decisions and acting according to your decisions. What will be her life? Where is going to be her government in your relationships? Oppressed in something. I mean, she wants to be oppressed in some area of life because she doesn't want to make decisions. She doesn't want to take actions in her life. Why does she not want to make decisions? Why she doesn't want to make decisions? Why she doesn't want to take an action? Where is the boundary between being babied and being independent? Do you know the boundary? Have you found it? Right now, by the way, right now, you are at this thing where she wants more dominance. Maybe she will want more dominance later. Well, to me it looks like if he's doing dominant as much as he can, and she keeps asking for more. She's trying to complain about something that isn't there for some reason. Yeah, it's something, not dominance. I don't think you're right. It's not the craving for dominance. It is craving for her own dominance, I think. It is craving for her to live her life. It is craving for her to find the area where she can play safely. It's not that she wants to, that she will be happy if you take her freedom to act. And she will be happy suddenly. She will bloom out. No, at best case scenario, she will rest a little bit. For example, you're like, okay, you will be stay-at-home girlfriend. This is your home. I'm going to provide for you. Do whatever the hell you want. I will be coming home. You will be spanked. I will demand dinner from you. This will be our whatever dominance you want. I'll give it to you. And where will it be found a few months later? If she recharges from that, she will want to play. Natural desire of human is to play when we have high energy. Want to play, want to do things. So it's likely that she'll just take a detour in some other thing that she wants, or she will be growing miserable and she will be craving more from you. Go make more money. Go give me better apartment. Go get better job. Smile more. Satisfy me emotionally more. It will turn into havoc. Might be craving for control over his actions, but I'm assuming, of course. Sometimes when a person likes to be a victim, they will make you become their perpetrator. That is something to think about. Maybe, oops. But, of course, I'm still assuming stuff. I don't know. Yes, good also note on that, good perspective on that. You will pay for this. She will pay and you will pay for this surrendered responsibility so much in the end. All dominant guys she was with, she met with angst and sort of betrayal. Yeah, it may be just a trauma replay, pulling you into the victim predator's scenario, yes? Victim aggressor because it's familiar. Because if she's saying her exes are dominant and wants you to mirror their dominance, but then also says their actions caused her trauma, it seems victimish to me. Yeah, it seems like, yeah, carousel, well-known carousel. I encourage her to take her own decisions every day, think for herself, not by her parents or her friends. Great. Remind her of her wholeness, remind her of her selfness. It's a very good strategy there. You are a human. You are an independent, strong human. What do you want? Actually asking, what do you want? Presenting choice to her. If that was not something that parents encouraged, for instance, like which dress do you want to wear today, my daughter? That's what parents should be teaching a child after a certain age. Do you want to wear pink dress with flowers, or do you want to wear black trousers with a sweater today? Or maybe you want something else. And little girl makes a decision with within some controlled domain, controllable domain. And that's how gradually, little by little, in safe environment, the child learns to make decisions. And they don't feel like making a decision is a mountain, some endurance thing. Or maybe she's trying to play you as at their level, but receive goodness from you to maybe give herself a situation where she replaces the trauma with a good ending. In cognitive behavioral therapy, that strategy works well, but without licensed professional, that can be a kind of dangerous practice to do. Oh yeah, by the way. It's even for a therapist, there are those dynamics when you enter with the client. You need to go to supervisions as a therapist. You need to always regularly have some second opinion. You need to get out of the bond with your client even as a therapist to look at it from the outside, because sometimes you can enter the dynamics. The client can encourage the dynamic in which you start noticing certain behavioral patterns in yourself or desires in yourself, like some thoughts. That even can happen in therapeutic process, not just between human and human who are not skilled at performing therapy. And she's opening up to this energy of mind slowly. She just fears that making her own decisions will make her life miserable, like her best choice in the relationship. So here's your answer. She's afraid of failing. That's why she wants to not take responsibility. She thinks that whenever she goes for something, life somehow screws her up and she ends up getting hurt. That's why let's find a daddy and sit down. No. First of all, not all of her decisions led to misery. She buys food every day. She chooses food that nurtures her. She makes decisions that nurtures her. She successfully makes decisions regarding, whatever areas of life. You can remind her of that not all of her decisions led to bad outcomes. She just memorizes bad outcomes very brightly because they are associated with her. But there are decisions, majority of decisions that she's made in life are actually good. They keep her alive, they keep her functioning, and they keep her growing. The problem here is hyper focus on decisions that led to pain. But not her decision making is not fundamentally screwed up. Because she clearly, through practice, she proves that on a daily basis she makes decisions that keep her alive. She's succeeding at being alive. She's succeeding at moving forward in life. That's another perspective that can be discussed. That look, you chose so nicely. If you go somewhere to the restaurant, you can encourage her to choose for her. to choose for you, to choose something for you, such that she also can exercise her will on you and see that nothing scary happens. I remind her, but she thinks that I don't understand her situation. I'm like, you really don't have to put up with the societal standards of slim equals pretty. And self-confidence. Another thing is, how do you feel? Remind her to feel herself. Encourage things that put her in her body, such that she's not looking at herself, but feeling from herself. Then also, there is no life on earth that is composed of solely good decisions. It's rather an abnormality that humans make ultimately good decisions that lead to ultimate happiness right away. It's an illusion that there are people who make exclusively good decisions and they are ultimately happy. No, everybody makes decisions that they regret. Sooner or later, some people live very well on paper, but then years later they share that they've been miserable their entire life. There are people who mess up. I mean, probably some irreversible mess ups are, of course, taking substances, probably something very destructive. But decisions that are just led to some unpleasant but not earth-shattering outcomes are just a part of normal life of every single human being. Because life is a path, life is not a destination, life is not like a milestone. We are probing different things. She thinks that she's missing out in life. She doesn't enjoy life by drinking or clubbing like others. She feels the universe punishes her for being good. The others who cheat have so much happiness in life, and here she's living miserably while being virtuous. I have a lot to say on that, but I actually need to go soon. So let's close this and I will be getting ready to go. I saw this happen once with one of my friend's ex-girlfriend and stemmed from fear of being alone. Fear of being alone can make people betray themselves when alone and then their confidence down. Yeah, can be, yeah. Being alone is like feeling the void, so they don't feel themselves. When they don't feel themselves, they need someone to validate their experience. And yeah, that's feeling yourself from within yourself is highly important. So that's a belief. GCA, what you described as a belief. The universe punishes her for being good. So much happiness. So she looks at others. She doesn't know how they feel. She doesn't know. She doesn't know how they experience life. If she was fully attuned with those experiences, she would be experiencing them and she would be ultimately happy. She's not attuned with those experiences because she feels unauthentic with them. Hence, she doesn't know how they experience. She doesn't want to experience it. And the solution is to just go and experience what you are attuned with. Not to think about myriads of opportunities that can cause you to have FOMO. Okay, Nasty, maybe it will take time and a lot of communication with each other and a good bit of therapy. Potentially. So guys, let's close this live stream. It was very nice to reconnect with you all. Again, I felt like it was eternity from the previous live stream. And thank you everyone for attending today. I will go do stuff that I need to do. DCA, I hope that there are some tools that you are armed with now. Lots of love to you too. Thank you so much. Brasky Diggs, bye bye. It was very nice to have you. Mesut, thank you so much. And most of all, breathing. Yeah, remember to breathe, everybody. You guys, remember to breathe. When you feel like your mind is racing, like you're out and about, like you are this tending to go to stratosphere with your mind away from your body, remember to breathe. Time for a bit of gardening. No, gardening. I actually bought some plants for my balcony now. I'm very happy. But I'm not going to do gardening. I'm going to do some dogging with my... Yeah, I'm going to do some dog activities. Yeah, Kiva is gardening, Queen. Thank you so much, GCA. They're beautiful. Matches your avatar colors. So, I guess Kiva left. Gardening the chat, yeah. So, and I'll see you soon. And guys who want to participate in the next workshop, Saturday, 2 weeks from now, email me. Thank you so much. Good night, Wayne. I miss you, the village, where I will. Собака, иди пока-пока скажи. Tink. Tink.